This is what they came to see. The whole field fanned out 3 wide.
There's a first time for everything.
Baker's right there, dives to the inside. He comes to the line, and Waltrip will win it by half a car length.
A place where champions are separated from competitors.
Oh, my goodness gracious.
Trouble in turn 1.
Oh, car on its roof.
Michael Waltrip. Mark Martin is in it. One of the championship contenders.
A huge hurdle on the way to Miami.
Mr. Restricted Place will take his 10th career victory at Talladega.
A track rich in history, where even more historic names have graced Victory Circle.
Earnhardt Jr. wins at Talladega.
Today, a new chapter in Talladega's history. Trucks, NASCAR Craftsman trucks hit the high banks for the first time.
Back down the hashes, it's about to get wild.
Who will win? Who will lose? Who will survive? It's all next on Speed.
Speed's coverage of the NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series pre-race show is presented by Craftsman.
The Talladega Superspeedway has undergone a massive transformation. The old gray bumpy surface has been removed, and more than 50,000 tons of coal black pavement now make this world's largest speedway look smoother than a baby's butt. Today, for the first time ever, the Craftsman Truck Series tackles Talladega. Hi everyone, I'm Ray Dunlap, and welcome to the super speedway of all super speedways. We're here at the Craftsman pre-race site just outside of Victory Lane, and it's going to be a great race today. You know, I like to compare the John Deere 250 a little bit to like going to your first ever high school prom. You circle that date on the calendar, everybody's talking about it, there's lots of anticipation. Who's going to go with who? Well, I had a good date ready to go, and then mine dropped me right before the prom happened. And we're going to be talking about that happening a lot today. Who goes with who and who decides not to at the end of the day. And yesterday, folks, in the media center, we found out some news about who is going with who next year.
When you can compete, like I have been able to the last couple of years, at this level of competition, it's hard to step away from. I've got a chance to keep going on a limited basis with great flexibility in Nextel Cup competition.
For 20 years, Mark Martin has been running with Roush Racing, and we thought for sure he was going to be full-time in the Craftsman Truck Series this year. And then we thought for sure he'd be full-time in the Craftsman Truck Series next year. Well, that turns out that's not going to be the case, and today we have Hermie Sadler joining us on pit road and Chris DeVota, so let's get to what's hot in the news. Voda, you're first.
All right, well, if you've been watching Speed at all this weekend, you already know the news about Mark Martin. As we just said, we heard from there in the press conference, but we want to know, what does that mean for the Truck Series in 2007? Mark, are we going to see you in a truck at all, and what truck, if that?
Well, I certainly hope so, Krista. You know I love this truck racing, and I really haven't addressed that yet. You know, I hope so, and I have some prefaces, you know, but I don't know if it'll work out or not. I love this Scott's F-150 that I drive here. The number 6 truck's awesome, and we're going to have a blast here today. It's going to be an interesting race. It'll be a preview for tomorrow's race, and I look forward to it. As far as next year goes, we're going to address that a little further down the road. Our focus really is primarily on doing everything that we can with the AAA Fusion. Jack and I are going to do everything that we can to give us our best shot at that championship. We're sitting pretty good right now, and we'll see how it looks after Sunday, but right now we're really focused on it.
All right, we're going to let Mark head on. Yeah, he's trying to win a championship in the Cup Series. That's really the only thing missing from that mantle, the only hardware missing. Today, of course, he's trying to win a truck race here at Talladega. Now, to catch you up on some other news, you know, this is the first time a lot of these guys, especially the rookies, have seen this track at all. The first time the trucks have been here. It's new pavement. It's a new track. But for one driver in particular, it's the first time and the last time he's going to see the track, at least from behind the windshield of a truck. That's because rookie sensation, the Australian Marcus Ambrose, is already making the move next year to the Busch Series. He will remain with Wood Brothers. He will drive the number 59 Busch Series car. That driver, Stacy Compton, will then return to the Truck Series. Stacy, of course, started out the year driving for Wood Brothers in the Truck Series. That means Marcus, he's never even raced on a super speedway. He did not race at Daytona. He was not qualified yet to do so. He will be racing at Talladega, and he likens this track. He said it's like driving in traffic in Shanghai in China just a couple 100 miles an hour faster. That's the news. And Hermie, I know you've got some more, and I think you've got some news about a guy who is going to be back in the series next year.
Yes, thanks, Kristen. If you follow Roush Racing in the NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series, you know they've done a great job of grooming drivers like Carl Edwards and Greg Biffle on to stardom in the NASCAR Busch Series and the Craftsman Truck Series and Nextel Cup Series. Well, that trend appears to be continuing today with the announcement that Eric Darnell and the 99 truck has signed Northern Tool and Equipment to a primary sponsorship deal through the 2008 season that'll keep him in this truck and continue his development towards the NASCAR Nextel Cup Series. Good news for the 99 and good news for the future of Roush Racing. Ray?
Well, thank you, Hermie. It is good news to see new sponsors here. Of course, we hate to see Marcus Ambrose heading to the Busch Series. He's a great competitor, and he'll make his first start at Talladega Superspeedway coming up shortly. A big crowd is on hand here today as we get running for the first ever running of the John Deere 250.
Coming up on the NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series pre-race show, we'll dissect why today's race at Talladega is going to be the one to remember. Four-time truck winner Rowdy Busch joins us on the set. Maybe you know him better as Nextel Chase competitor Kyle Busch.
He almost crashed him up for me. Here comes Mike Wallace in the lead.
Mike Wallace, 2 years in a row, is going to win the first race of the NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series and the inaugural Daytona 250.
He tries to make a pass as they're coming on the line. It's Rick Crawford making the pass, and Crawford wins the Daytona 250. Bobby Hamilton makes the pass, and problems right as they go across the start-finish line.
The field is automatically frozen when the caution flag comes out.
Guess what? You're second today, buddy. I'll tell you, anytime we talk about Daytona, I get goosebumps, and we're getting closer to the start of today's race, and it's already starting to happen again. And Rick Allen will be calling the race from high atop the track, and he's got a guy standing by with him who's won here at Talladega before, right, Rick?
Well, exactly. And Phil, I was just going to say, you know, you've raced on this racing surface. Can we compare Talladega to Daytona?
Well, we can, but as Kyle was telling us just a moment ago, this is not a handling track, especially not with this new ultra smooth surface. We're used to seeing these trucks bounce around, bounce into each other. We see that at Daytona. We're not going to see that here. That doesn't mean they're not going to touch, but this is going to be an incredibly competitive race. If we don't go across the start-finish line at the end of this race, at least side by side, I will be very, very surprised and disappointed.
Well, at these super speedway races, we always see the trucks running very close together, and what that means is we could see a big one here at Talladega.
Here we go, guys.
The big one.
It's just a matter of time.
Oh, trouble! Oh, and Scott Riggs on his roof. Oh, he got trouble.
Terrible crash. Oh, trouble. Elliott Sadler over once and a half and on his roof. It's the big wreck on the final lap. What drama here at Talladega. Whoa. Oh, look out. We got trouble. This is going to hurt. Oh, my. Keep your fingers crossed.
Anytime we see those big accidents happen, it just makes you go, oh no. But Kyle, here's the thing. We've got so much drag in these trucks, so much downforce, a brand new pavement. Are we going to have a big one today in this race?
Like I said before, you know, I sure hope not, but it can always be expected. And anytime you come to a racetrack this big, this size, this manner, you know, you've got the Cup Series with drivers the greatest in the world that have had crashes bigger than we've ever seen. So the Craftsman Truck Series, you know, these guys are going to be close. The drag that's involved in these things are going to be, you're going to see the slingshot like you do anytime you go to a restrictor plate race. But, you know, you're going to see a great race here today, I believe. And like I said, you know, hopefully if there is a wreck, it doesn't take too many trucks.
Craftsman Truck Series On Speed is brought to you by the official tools of NASCAR, Craftsman, by Team Chevy and the 2006 Monte Carlo SS, now with the legendary small block V8, Chevy, and American Revolution, and by Fastenal, quality products and service from quality people, expected from Fastenal.
Spectacular crowd on hand to watch the first ever race at Talladega for the NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series. The cars moving around this 2.66 mile tri-oval super speedway. Let's take a look at our starting grid. It's going to create a confidence for these drivers.
Yeah, and that's the worst thing they could have, because that means I think I can fit in there. The truck's handling good. I'm going for it. I'm squeezing in.
I've never had any more fun guiding a car around a track as I had here at Talladega this weekend. I've been coming here for 20 years. It used to be rough as a comp. Now you just hold the steering wheel. It feels good. It feels fast. But this is going to be crazy what we're fixing to watch.
We are about to see the first ever start for the NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series at Talladega Superspeedway. The fans are on their feet. The green flag flies. We're underway.
Be interesting to see if these two in the front have a plan. Well, if they did, it just got changed.
There goes Bobby Hamilton to the inside early.
And remember, now that's the truck that's going to make its way to the back of the field to start with.
But he's going to see if the front feels okay first before he goes back there. It could get real crowded trying to get to the backfield.
3 wide already. Lap number 1, turn 2, 3 wide.
Bobby Hamilton Jr. on the point.
The only way this won't be one of the greatest races we've ever seen is if right now, 4 wide on the first few laps, these guys get together and we take out half the field. That'll mess everything up. But if that doesn't happen, this is what you're going to see for 250 miles.
What a beautiful picture watching these trucks come through 3 and 4 and into the tribal. This is the hairy part of the track.
It is? It all looks hairy to me.
Mark Martin goes back to the lead, jumps by Bobby Jr. He's got a lot of help. Now David Reagan, the 50 truck, leads another group on the outside. Hangs by.
Terry Earnhardt just went across the start-finish line. We saw a big puff of smoke coming out, so obviously motor problems for that team.
Now these motors are churning up some RPM. I mean, they are really turning some RPM. It's hard on these engines, Bill.
Unlike the Nextel Cup cars that will only turn about 7,500 RPMs, these trucks will turn about 8,700, 8,800 RPMs in a good draft.
And one of the other things that could happen, Terry Earnhardt, because of aerodynamics, is not going to make it all the way around without help on this racetrack.
Roush engines, you know, those Roush H engines are they're great, and they obviously qualify well. It's tough to have to pull in for that. Might be a blessing, though, right?
Well, you never know. And Mark did have something low on his grill, which they'll clean it off here, and he'll get back into the action. The front pack is kind of strung out, Phil. But Ray, what's going to happen when he comes in?
Well, they're going to go to the front of the grill real quick, and they've got a brush ready. A couple of crew members, they're taking a look at it. It's a piece of tear off. Looks like it came off of a windshield, was on the lower section. Now, the top of the grill is completely closed off. That gives you good downforce. But on the bottom where they had an opening, it was a windshield tear off.
It's not a big problem for Mark Martin because he knows that, you know, most of these trucks aren't going to get lapped. I mean, it's going to be hard to get lapped. This is such a good, strong field that Mark is going to be in line. If he does get lapped, to get the lucky dog. And right now, he's about a third of a track ahead of these guys. So he's got a while before this pack will catch him. And catch him they will. They're going to be running so much faster in a draft than he can run by himself. If they run long enough before caution, they definitely will catch him.
They're liable to eat up 2 seconds a lap on him, Phil. It could be a matter of 5 laps, and they'll catch Mark Martin. He's a third of a track ahead, but man, things happen fast at Talladega when you get out of that draft.
Yeah, NASCAR has required these trucks to run a right side window for aerodynamic purposes. That's Jeff Hensley right there. He's crew chief for Mike Skinner. You can see how upset he is, but NASCAR is going to black flag.
We got to wait till the next lap. He got him inside.
Mike's saying, I swear it's there. It's clear. It's real clean. It's there.
But we can tell on this angle whether it's in there or not. And Phil, it's gone.
It is gone. Absolutely gone right there.
Man, that's too bad. That's tough luck.
And you know what'll be interesting to see how prepared that team is. Is there a spare one in the pit, or are they scurrying right now back to the truck to try to find one?
That's a great question.
Ray Dunlap.
I've got the answer for you, Mikey. They do have one, but it's not right here in the pit. So they ran to the truck, and the officials are here saying you must pit next time. Now, they just threw one over from the garage area, and they're about to unwrap it here and get it ready. So by the time Skinner gets here, they will be ready. Good hustle by the crew to get ready to fix that.
Now, that's a battle, isn't it, Mikey? As a team, you got to decide what parts you're going to bring out there. And it's like, you want to bring everything, but then the guys get tired of tearing down and carrying all that stuff week in and week out. So you never know when you need that one part.
And then Skinner's saying right now, I would come in, but I can't get over. And I don't want to cause a problem. So he's asking NASCAR to work with him, let him get into position to safely come to pit road.
Yep, he just got onto the inside line. Now, explain the importance of the right side window. Didn't they put this in after we saw so many trucks getting upside down at Daytona?
A couple years ago, we saw a couple trucks get upside down. Rick Crawford was one. Chad Chaffin was another one. So NASCAR, just like the Nextel Cup cars and the Busch cars, put a right side window in that will try to help these trucks stay on the ground. It kills a little bit of the lift that these trucks get when they get sideways.
Right, Mikey's pointing at the screen there. What do you got? Mark Martin's his second slower.
2 seconds.
2 seconds.
2 seconds a lap slower.
You were correct on that.
They're going to eat him up in a hurry.
But he will be, he'll be the first guy lap down for a long time. If there's a caution, he'll be right back there.
Mark Martin just making his way through the tri-oval. The pack just coming up past the pit road entrance and now in the tri-oval. So as you mentioned, 2 seconds the difference. They're going to catch him in about probably 3 or 4 laps.
It just happens so fast. It's amazing, especially with these big old boxy trucks. It's amazing how fast they go when you put 2 of them together.
There you see Mike Skinner right there on your left. He's going to make his pit stop to put his side window in. And Carl tells us you're running 185 miles an hour in the middle of 3 and 4, and you got to turn left and get down to 55 miles an hour on pit road. How difficult is that?
Yeah, that's tough. It's especially when you know that whole pack is out there running around 190 miles an hour or whatever. I mean, Mike, you know how it is. Mark Martin's in the boat right now where he might be going 185 miles an hour, but it feels like 35. He knows that pack's closing in.
I believe I might have put some duct tape on that window, Phil, when I put it in. It probably wasn't made specifically for that truck. Yeah. Thing might blow out again, then they'll be out of windows. Maybe took a little extra time, taped it up, and got in that battle with Mark Martin for that free pass that he's going to get.
Patience has worked out for Johnny Benson and Jack Sprague. They are still leading this field around Talladega Super Speedway. More than halfway through a fuel run. The possibility exists we could go for green flag pit stops here at Talladega in the first ever race. We look back at the 40.
We've seen a couple of...
left rear out, I think.
Yeah, see there, and there's debris everywhere. I'd say that'll bring out that caution flag, Rick. Maybe those banks are so steep, though, maybe it will get it all off the bank, but I don't know.
Caution just came out here at Talladega, the first one. It happens at lap 23.
He did a good job of saving that, huh?
He really
Tires
did.
coming apart.
That thing blew the whole fender off. You know how violent that is.
That should give Mark Martin the lucky dog. Will put him right back in the hunt.
That worked out for that Scott's Ford there.
Yeah, and you know what? I said last race that Mark Martin didn't even know what a lucky dog was, and now he's got his second one. And so I guarantee he understands what an Aaron's lucky dog is now.
And he likes the lucky dog thing now.
He does. He's okay with it. Look.
Now, Derek, it's official. The Aaron's lucky dog goes to Mark Martin in the number 6. He will get his lap back and be on the lead lap.
And that'll put Skinner in line for the next Aaron's lucky dog.
Will Derek Cope be leading the race after this pit stop?
No, because he'll have to be pitted too early.
No.
Again, Mark Martin was a lap down. He had problems earlier. They were worried about the truck overheating. They came in. It was actually a tear-off that was on the front of the grill.
And I heard him talking back and forth with the team there about water pressure. Maybe he feels like he lost enough water.
Right, yeah, with the way our route systems work, that's the first thing they ask you anytime you blow out water, watch that water pressure to indicate how much water's in it.
Come back and we'll put water in it, okay?
Yeah, that's Mike Beam right there. And there's really nothing to lose.
We got to get fuel the first time. We got to get tires and fuel the first time, then come back and let's put some water in.
The fact that they got the lucky dog, they will have to restart this race from the tail end of the longest line, so he has absolutely nothing to lose to come in, take a little extra time, make sure...
Legacy Jr. has lost the engine. Take a look back at coming through the tri-oval. That's the 04 right there, throwing the smoke screen out.
Wow. The 04 Mopar Dodge, the Hemi Dodger, blew up just as he entered the tri-oval. Fortunately, nobody got into the oil. He was towards the back of the pack. Everyone did a great job.
Watch what happens, Phil. Fire.
There he is right there, almost right at the center of the tri-oval there. Trucks on the inside, trucks on the outside making their way by. That's Boston Reed on the 25 truck on the inside.
Yeah, here's what Bobby Hamilton Jr. saw here.
He's not going to like it. That's his teammate.
He's going, do I have one of those engines?
Take a left, Bobby. Take a left.
Go low, get for the yellow line there.
The worst thing in a race vehicle is fire. And watch what happens right here at the end, Phil. That thing, he did a great job sliding down on the grass. That grass and dirt puts that fire out.
Completely put it out. Absolutely. Good heads up move by Scott Legacy.
Herming.
Just like it looked like on TV, the 04 truck did lose an engine early in the race. It got some piece of a tear off on the grill. The oil temperature went up near 300 degrees. They came in and cleaned the tear off the grill of the race truck. The temperature came down, but apparently the damage is already done. The 04 is done.
To 1988, driving the number 55 car and crossing the finish line first. Yes, our very own Bill Parsons. Today's Fast and All flashback. Bill Parsons, first Cup win right here at Talladega Superspeedway. And look at how young your daughter is there, Phil.
And she is now a freshman in college. Thank you very much.
We didn't want to date you or anything, but
thank you a lot.
Congratulations.
Thank you, yeah.
Big win here at Talladega.
It was, and my only one, so it was definitely big for me.
That's about as big as they get.
Look at the crowd. That's the backstretch, Phil.
That's a bigger crowd than we've had for a lot of races over the years. What a terrific turnout.
It's just a testament for what these Craftsman trucks bring to NASCAR. It's so fun to watch them race, no matter where they're at.
Ray Dunlap, the 5 got a lap back. What are they talking about in the pits?
Well, he just came down and put 4 tires on it. I ran up to Jeff Hensley, his crew chief, and I said, "What are you doing? Why pit now?" He said, "Well, we got to try something. We got to see what we can do here." Put tires on it, filled it up with gas. Now, I don't believe they're good enough to go. They'll have one more pit left to do, but Jeff Hensley says, let's try something different.
Sprague on the inside of the racetrack. Smoke coming out of the back of the Conway Freight Toyota.
All right, guys, we blew up.
Oh, man,
Jack
bad
right
news
there.
for Jack Sprague and that team.
Look at the new leader.
Out front, here comes Todd Bodine leading the line on the outside. Right behind him, the 50 of David Reagan and Eric Darnell to 99, and they will take over the top spot.
And you see what they did? As soon as they had everybody cleared, they're thinking, those guys on the bottom look pretty good. I believe I'll get down there.
3 trucks working together. Todd Bodine, David Reagan, and Eric Darnell were able to work on the high side of the racetrack and get in front of Johnny Benson.
Todd would like to make this lead stick. Watch Todd right here. Watch him when the 60 truck blows up here. Everybody goes to the high side. Todd goes all the way up right in front of the 50 truck of David Reagan and makes his way around the 16 of Mike Bliss, and then down the backstretch takes the lead.
Almost was forced out there. Harvey, what's going on with Jack?
Well, they're not really sure. Jack fell off the pace. His first words on the radio were, "We blew up." Now he says the truck is still running, but not under power to the drivetrain. They're going to pull on pit road and see if they can diagnose it and get back in the race. But a very disappointed group in the 60 pit. Back to the booth.
Those Toyota motors historically don't break, so they've decided now that maybe it isn't the motor fuel. Maybe it's something in the driveline.
It could be a transmission. He is going to take the truck behind the wall, the Conway Toyota, but it could be a drive shaft transmission, something like that, rear end possibly. But tough break for Jack Sprague. Had such a great truck running around here to
the short track of Martinsville. We are under our 3rd caution of the day as Robert Richardson spun coming off of turn number 4. We'll take a look at that as he has service done to his truck.
Robert was running by himself. He lost control coming off turn number 4. He does a great job staying out of the inside. While you see this left rear tire is down, that's probably what caused him to spin out.
We saw how close Derek Cope come to spinning when he blew out his left rear. Robert was a little bit deeper down in the corner, and the tire blew out, and around he went.
We're expecting the leaders to come down pit road. They're going to want to fuel up here. Are they going to want to change tires at this point in time?
Their strategy will be all across the board here. Some will get 2. I bet you some people just get gas, others will get 4.
But I think you're going to see everybody come down pit road at least to get fuel, because we're over halfway to a fuel run.
Again, this one's 94 laps. We've completed 43. Krista.
Guys, Todd Bodine's crew waiting for him to come back in to make a stop. They were worried that Robert Richardson wouldn't be out. Robert Richardson pits right behind Todd Bodine. Robert Richardson did get down and away, so no problem for Todd Bodine. He is all clear. As he brings the Lumber Liquidators Toyota into his pit stall, they bring the right side tires around, putting a full load of fuel in. Remember, Todd Bodine came in back on lap 23 to make that 4-tire stop. Just a 2-tire stop for Todd Bodine. Hermie.
David Rudiman is in the Napa Toyota. Loves the way his truck's driving. Gas only for the 17. Track position very important here at Talladega, Ray.
Gas only for the Exide Batteries Toyota of Johnny Benson, and he almost got into a collision leaving his pits here. It was very, very close as he rolled out of here, but they put fuel only. They know they're not in the window to make it the distance, so they're saving tires for the end of the race.
I'm telling you, we had 3 trucks stay on the racetrack. Eric Darnell takes over the lead. A.J. Allmendinger will be 2nd, and Sean Murphy 3rd. 3 trucks stayed on the racetrack. I'm not sure I agree with that strategy.
David Reagan, his teammate, came down pit road and came off first.
This is all fine. He's going up because he's the first truck a lap down. Now, what he can't do or shouldn't do is pass him before the start-finish line.
I think he's okay.
Looks like he's all right.
He was dead side by side with our leader, Eric Darnell, when they got to the start-finish line. Good move by Terry Cook.
And Terry Cook actually gave back the position. He was going quicker when they went across the start-finish line, was out in front of him, but gave the position back. And so he was warned by NASCAR. Fourth caution has come out. He had a tire go down and got into the wall. Let's take a look.
There they are negotiating right between turn 3 and 4. You see him, the 21, right in the middle of your screen. His truck just takes off. Fortunately, Michael, he was on the outside. If he was on the inside, his truck's going to take off anyway, and he's going to take somebody with him. But a single truck accident.
Because of positioning, Phil. Just think if he's down there where Rudiman is. He takes out 2 or 3 trucks on his way up to the wall.
Good job by Bobby to keep that 21 truck up against the wall. There's another view right there coming right at us.
What a strong run for Bobby today. He's been in the top 5, running up front all day long.
Krista.
Guys, that caution, great news for our champ car driver turned truck driver, A.J. Allmendinger. He brings his truck around. They were getting close to their fuel window the last time they came in back on lap 35. So they're going to put the 4 tires on, get it full of fuel. They're in their fuel window now. Let's go, Hermie.
The 33 truck of Ron Hornaday has made its way to the 3rd. Contact on pit road with Aaron Crocker leaving his pits. They came in for gas only. He had a vibration early on in the race. They found that was a loose lug nut, but the 33 running well there towards the front, Ray.
The number 6 of Mark Martin, he wanted to put, or excuse me, Mike Beam wanted to put tires on it. Mark said absolutely not. We cannot take the time and give up the lead. So they put fuel only in that Scott's Ford. And guess what? He was first off pit road.
Most people on pit road did just put in gas, and that's why you have instances like we see with Aaron Crocker. Watch, Hornaday just got some gas, he's gone. Here comes Aaron into her pit. She did nothing wrong. She just was going to her pit. You got to have some help from your sponsor.
And just barely missed the 17 Napa Toyota of David Rudiman.
Spotter.
Why didn't she back up and just do the service right there and then get off of pit road?
She could have, but she's going to be last either way, so it doesn't make any difference. Might as well just get it right. No help from the sponsor needed in that situation. Spotter. Spotter's got to tell Ron Hornaday that this 98 truck is coming. He's got to give her some room.
Absolutely.
Aaron's lucky dog goes to number 10 of Terry Cook, so he's back on the lead lap at Talladega.
All within the top 7 or 8 trucks here, Phil. These guys are doing all they can do to erase that advantage that Todd Bodine has, but he's been solid today.
He sure has. He's been right up front this entire race, and obviously so has Mark Martin in the number 30 Lumber Liquidators Toyota.
You know, if your spoiler will lay back like that, first of all, it's a hazard. If that thing falls off, it could fly a million miles up in the air. And then secondly, it could give you a little bit of a performance advantage laying back like that, Phil.
Mark Martin's been out in front of the field for 23 laps. Ray.
Mark Martin was just saying to himself, he said, who's lined up behind me there? They said, yes, it is teammates. It is Bodine and Musgrave. He said, well, where'd my teammates go? They said, he's not very close right now. They're about 10 back. He said, let's try to help those guys work up here because we're going to need some teammate help if we're going to hold those guys off.
Well, Ray, I don't think the only way he's going to help them get up there is to back off and get with him, and I don't think that's going to happen. Krista.
Yeah, speaking of teammate help, that is exactly what nobody wants to see in their rearview mirror is the teammates of Todd Bodine and Ted Musgrave lined up nose to tail. But you guys better believe that Todd Bodine is very conscious of where Johnny Benson is on this track. Remember, Johnny Benson has made up 91 points on Bodine in just the last 4 races. They've gotten on the radio and let Todd know every lap that Johnny is back there.
Wow, you see the 46 there, Phil. He's got to get to pit road. And there's Rudiman, one of our championship contenders, right behind him. He's hoping Joe will get to pit road without letting off the gas where he can get around him and not lose a bunch of momentum.
And he needs to be ready to move up around that 46 truck. We're getting a report that if he doesn't come up pit road, that NASCAR will pull his scorecard, give him the black flag with a white cross, which means he will not be scored anymore.
The flag is being shown to Joe Nemechek in that 46. The very flag you had mentioned, the black flag with a white cross on it.
You'll never win that battle. If they say come to pit road, you bring that thing to pit road.
He has not done that, and Mark Martin continues to lead here at Talladega. Tomorrow on Speed, it's the Speed Report. Go beyond the highlights and beyond the stats, get the why with the Speed Report. Tomorrow, 8 Eastern and Pacific, only on Speed. And one guy asking why is going to be Chad McCumbee.
That's right. And why is the caution is out is because we had debris on the front stretch, and there's a big chunk of debris right there in turn number 3, and that's a 08 truck.
His truck wouldn't go anymore. He's waving at the the safety truck to push him home.
GPS store on board that truck for the rest of this year.
What about Derek Koch today? Blew a left rear, saved the truck, was sideways and saved it.
Stay on the lead lap.
And now he's racing in the front of the lead pack.
So Derek Koch currently being scored in 9th. We're under our 5th caution in our inaugural race at Talladega Superspeedway. Another look.
NASCAR. Wayne Aughton in the driver's meeting was very explicit. He said, you cannot improve your position by going under the yellow line. Let's see if we can take a look at it.
He's way under the yellow line, Phil. You can't make this move if you're racing for a championship.
There he went. Todd Bodine is going to receive the black flag, and we got problems with the 25. Boston Reed in the 25 has spun around. The caution has come out.
And the 30 truck of Todd Bodine is receiving the black flag. He got a big break, Michael, by the caution being out, but he is going to lose all his track position. He's going to go from the lead all the way back to about the 28th position.
Now the rule, they'll tell you in the driver's meeting, if you go under the yellow line to improve your position, you may be black flag. They also say that if you block someone under the yellow line in an effort to keep them behind you, you may be black flag. What Mark did, Mark made a swap. He made a swerve at blocking Todd, but then he said, okay, you're there, and pulled up. Todd went under the line. He did not let off the gas and give up the momentum he got by going under the line. It's as simple as the nose on your face. That's a penalty. There's nothing to argue.
There's Mike Hellman Jr. He's doing his argument. It's a futile effort right there because the 30 truck of Todd Bodine has already received the black flag. He will have to make his way down pit road. That's all there is to it.
And this is huge for our points championship. This is what we talked about. Johnny Benson has to finish in front of Todd Bodine. Well, now Todd Bodine has to go to the back of the field.
But there's going to be 6, 7 laps to go. Dale Earnhardt started 23rd or so with 2 to go and drove to the lead. He can make all this up, I guarantee you, and it'll be fun to watch.
We see Boston Reed. He makes his way into the ambulance. Now remember, inside of 10 laps, we will start single file. And so that means that he will be back there almost, well, about 30 positions back.
The 30 truck of Todd Bodine stayed on the racetrack. You see, that's Mike Hellman Jr., his crew chief, right there on the left. He's saying that's wrong. He's telling Dennis Adcock, a NASCAR official, that that's wrong.
Krista, what's going on down there?
Well, I don't know if you could tell from our camera angle, but the entire crew down here in Todd Bodine's pit telling the officials, look up at the big screen, look at the Jumbotron, and watch the replay. They are arguing that he did not stay down behind, that he was pushed down there, it was not on his own right, and that he did nothing wrong and should not have to serve a pass-through penalty. Mike Hillman Sr., Mike Hillman Jr. telling the official, look what you're seeing right here.
But they're wrong, Krista. He went under the line and made a pass. That's a penalty.
But remember, they're going to fight everything they can because they know how big this is in the points picture. Johnny Benson is down there. They do not want to lose any more points. They're going to fight tooth and nail for the right call, whether it is the right call in the term of proper right or just the right call for them and the championship picture.
Well, Krista, we want to take a look at this one more time and see just how Todd Bodine did make this pass. They're in the trioval right now.
You see the 6 truck of Mark Martin leading. He's about a lane and a half up. Now, as Michael, as you said, he went down there to block him, but right there, they're side by side, and Todd did really not have enough room to be above the yellow line.
I was forced below it because he pushed me down there.
That was Todd saying that he was forced down below the yellow line. Here's another look.
He was, but he continued to run below the line. He has got to give up the momentum. And Phil, if Todd lets off and gets beside Mark and maybe lets Mark retain a half a truck length lead, he's going to have the momentum. He's got everyone behind him. He gets the lead anyway. So,
okay, but Michael and Phil, I want to take a look at this because Todd Bodine actually tries to make this pass, and he goes to the inside knowing the yellow line's there.
Slow the yellow line down the inside the track.
They forced him down there. Just to hold still there. He forced him down there, Lightning. He doesn't have no choice. Wayne said that you cannot run him down. He forced him down under the yellow line.
Again, Mike Hillman Jr. is saying they forced him down, but if you look at it, he's making this pass knowing where the yellow line is, and Mark Martin's holding his line.
But what you have to understand, he did force him down there, but Todd has a choice. He could let off the gas and not go down there, and he could also let off the gas and not improve his position. He chose not to do that. That's what the rule states.
And Mark Martin, once he got down there, Mark Martin moved back up the racetrack to give him some room. And really, the way this racetrack is shaped, you actually lose a little racing room from the exit of the trioval before you get to turn number 1 for the blend in line for pit road. So Todd has a little less room down there than he does maybe going straight down the backstretch. But nonetheless, we're going to have to see how NASCAR calls it.
At the beginning of this race, we talked about patience. I'm guessing right now Todd Bodine has no patience left because he is staying in front of this field. He doesn't want to serve any penalty. He doesn't want to go to the back. He doesn't think he's wrong.
Well, and he'll find out. I mean, it's just like when they pulled the 46's scorecard for not obeying the black flag. The call has been made. He has to serve a penalty. Now he has to refocus. Todd has to say, how many of these 20-some guys on the lead lap can I get around and get the most points I can today? That's his focus now. He needs to put this behind him.
Yeah, he's going to get the penalty. He's got to come down pit road right now to serve the pass-through penalty. So he's going to restart this race back in the 27th position. As you say, Michael, he's got to put his head back on and say, hey, I'm going to try to salvage as many points as I can.
You know, we can't stay out.
Krista, let's hear from his crew chief.
Yeah, catching up with Mike Hillman Jr. Obviously upset, frustration. You guys are trying to prove, saying that you are in the right. What happened? What's your take on it?
My take doesn't matter right now, Krista. My guys at Germain Racing have done a great job. The 30 and the 9 truck, we're going to finish 1-2. You know, we'll talk about it after the race with Wayne. We'll just take our penalty and do the best we can, get the best we can out of the day.
All right, that's the crew chief, Mike Hillman Jr. And they said, Todd Bodine got on the radio and said, guys, we're going to have to play their game.
I got 3 of them.
You think they'll put 4 tires on, Phil?
There's nothing to lose by doing it.
I don't know if they think it'll help them or not, but they certainly could make an adjustment here if they wanted to.
Take a look at this graphic right here. These are the last 4 races. Look how Johnny Benson has really made a move. Almost 23 points a race he's gained. It looked like they were going to be about the same. Todd Bodine was leading. Johnny was in the top 3 or 4. But right now, Johnny with 2 wins in the last 4 races, 4 top 5, all top 5 finishes. He's going to be up in the top 5, and Todd Bodine is going to be in the 27th position.
They took that aerodynamic deflector off the back during that pit stop. That must mean they think they'll have more straight speed with that, and they know with just 3 or 4 laps to go, handling one.
Talladega.
Hey, Michael, look who's running second in this race.
And luckily Ted's in front of him because he doesn't know what he's doing, you know, and he's just doing all he can do to win this race, and he's pacing right off the lead. This is going to be the greatest 4 laps ever. I love this.
Team ASC Toyota Tundra of Ted Musgrave, our defending series champion, leads him to the green flag. We're back underway at Talladega.
Look at the gap between A.J. Allmendinger and Mark Martin in the 6th truck. You don't want a gap on a restart like this because Mark Martin, when he gets there, will have a head of steam.
Ted Musgrave, the last time out at Las Vegas, finished 2nd. He hasn't won in 06. He's won 5 years in a row. Whoa! Ted Musgrave goes out to block, not able to do it. Mark Martin's going to take the lead.
Michael, he had that momentum. He laid back there. He was about 3 truck lengths behind A.J. Allmendinger, and look at him in the lead going in 3.
Wow, that was textbook. Mark just laid off of him enough to get a big head of steam, had some pushers behind him, and he drove to the front. Coming to 3 to go, Phil.
And there's Mike Wallace in the 2nd spot. You talked to him a few moments ago. He thinks he can beat Mark Martin.
Look who jumped in there with him, Johnny Benson and David Rudiman. The fans are on their feet as they cross the start-finish line. 3 laps of racing to go.
They've completed 91 laps. They have 3 more laps, so he's got a group on the outside.
Todd Bodine's 3 wide, way up high in the back, Phil.
Trying to make his way back into the top 10 is the goal that they've set now that this penalty has been enforced. Krista.
Ted Musgrave had gotten on the radio before that pass and said, I'm going to put my truck on the bottom and I am not going to let anyone pass me. And when he said anyone, he specifically meant Johnny Benson trying to protect his teammates' lead. It did not work. Johnny Benson currently running 3rd, Ted Musgrave running 5th. And as you said, Todd Bodine trying to salvage any points he can.
You just don't know the emotion and the intensity that these cats are operating with right now. There's no margin for error, Phil.
2 laps to go. You got Mike Skinner leading the group on the outside. Mark Martin leading this race on the inside. And he's got Mike Wallace behind him and Johnny Benson and David Rudiman.
I'm going to say that you will not be able to stay on the bottom and win this race. Mark Martin cannot just lay on the bottom and think he's going to get the win. They'll get a run on the outside of him.
Mark Martin looking to win again at a super speedway. He won at Daytona to start the season, and now the first ever race for the NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series at Talladega Super Speedway. And again, veteran Mark Martin out in front of the field.
Coming down for the white flag, Mike Wallace thinks he's got something for Mark Martin. Where's he going to make his move?
He's going to flare up high and hope Johnny goes with him. He doesn't have anything to lose, Phil. He ain't racing. He isn't racing for points. He's going to try to get that gecko ahead of that Scott's truck.
Through the tri-oval, across the start-finish line, 1 lap to go at Talladega.
Todd Bodine came across the line in 14th spot. Restarted in 27th, already up to 14th, and he's fanning out to the outside now.
Here comes Mike Skinner in the second line. Johnny Benson moves up. Skinner moves up higher. Mark Martin is going to try to block as they go down the backstretch.
Look at Todd Bodine right out against the wall.
Todd Bodine moved up. He made it into the top 10. He's running 3 wide.
Whoa, there they go.
There they go. Mike Wallace into the wall. And Derek Cope gets almost upside down into the wall. The caution is going to come out. The checkered is going to fly. Mark Martin out in front of the field as they come out of turn number 4. And Mark Martin will win at Talladega.
Well, the caution flag is out. It doesn't matter if Mike Skinner drives by him or not. This race is over, and Mark Martin has won again.
Wow.
Todd Bodine may have just made it up into the top 5 at the end of that race.
See all the Derek Cope had such a great run going after overcoming that flat left rear tire. Hard contact there. Top of your screen, that's Mike Wallace, the Geico Chevrolet. He's climbing out. He made some hard contact against the outside wall and the inside wall.
Man, you just had to know that if they had made it, it would have just been luck. Because when you get to that point, none of these guys are going to let off the gas. They're going to try to get all they can get.
Mike Wallace is out of the number 15. That's him walking across the grass infield.
They're tending to Derek Cope there.
Derek Cope almost upside down in that truck.
Here comes Derek out of that truck.
That's great to see. See Derek getting out of that truck. We already saw Mike Wallace walking away from his truck. Great job with Talladega, not only on this repaving job, safer barrier all the way around the corners of this racetrack. That's why these guys are able to walk away like they are after such hard hits.
What a tough day for Derek Cope.
Now NASCAR's got to try to figure all this out.
Well, and at the end of the race, to determine the finishing positions, not only will they use the loops, but they will use video to make sure to determine right when the caution came out, where everyone was running, and that is how they will figure out the scoring for the end of this race.
And because of the action, you know we got a lot of cameras. There's cameras everywhere. We're not going to miss
all over this bunch.
We're not going to miss anything. Let's see what happens. Skinner gets into the back of Mike Wallace.
Gets in the right rear corner and turns him up in the outside wall. Derek Cope looked like he got hit from behind by Todd Bodine. And I'm telling you, Michael, it looks like Todd Bodine is running 4th.
Take a look at this.
Gets hit by the 9, knocks him up into Johnny.
Look at these. They're 5 wide right now.
But the wreck didn't happen because of that.
That was Todd Bodine who got into the 40.
Todd Bodine got into the 40 of Derek Cope, just as the 5 of Mike Skinner got into the 15 of Mike Wallace.
I think Todd Bodine was 4th.
I think Todd Bodine finished 4th in this race.
Unbelievable. Todd Bodine getting penalized, goes all the way to the back, and then potentially could finish 4th in this race.
There's another shot here.
What about this glob? There's 2 things that happened. Todd Bodine turned the 40, and Mike Skinner turned the 15.
Totally separate. And those 2 incidents were totally separate within about 30 feet of each other.
And they did exactly the same thing. They got into the right rear quarter panel of the trucks they were racing.
Now, could that be, and we haven't even talked about the fact that Mark Martin has won this race, his 5th win, but could that be, I mean, can it be a penalty for Todd Bodine?
Well, it's the last lap. I don't think you'll see a penalty, but certainly over-aggressive driving by both those guys on the last lap.
Skinner and Bodine.
If there's such a thing as that, is there?
But we talked about it the whole race. These guys really used their heads this entire race. We got down to the very last lap here. Watch this. This is what Dennis Setzer saw here. They're 5 wide right in front of him.
But listen, Dennis, wow, did you see Derek Cope's truck?
Wow.
That looked like something from Twister.
Flying right next to him.
Watch this.
Take a look at this real time. Now they're coming down the backstretch.
They fan out. They're at least 5 wide right here. Mike Skinner's going to make some contact with Mike Wallace.
Oh,
we broke the camera.
We'll have to get that fixed for tomorrow.
Thumper will take care of it.
Now we need to freeze it right there, try to figure out who finished where.
NASCAR is doing exactly that.
NASCAR will do that. Remember, NASCAR will look at whatever they can available to them to determine finishing position. If this was halfway through the race, they would go to the most recent loop when the caution came out. But they will look at all our video, and they will analyze it to try to determine who finishes where.
Any means necessary to find out how the positions shake out. And we do know one position for sure, and that's Mark Martin, his 5th win of the 2006 season. Again, at the end of this one, the reason he was able to get to the checkered flag under caution is because of this. We're right along with Terry Cook. A little bump there on Brendan Gaughan, and then the melee happens in front of him. Talladega's first race ends under caution with Mark Martin winning.
Speed's coverage of the NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series post-race show is presented by Craftsman.
An unbelievable finish to the first ever running of the John Deere 250 from Talladega Super Speedway. Let's go to victory lane.
And Mark Martin comes climbing out of his Scott's Miracle Grow Ford, win number 6, and he drives truck number 6 in his career. Congratulations, Mark. You did it at Daytona. You come right back here to Talladega, and another victory. What was the secret to getting it done today?
Big fat horsepower, but in the Scott's a Ford F-150, man. We had a great motor, and I don't know. I guess I was just lucky to the way that thing turned out. You know, Todd was the one that was strong enough to do something there, and once he had his problem there, we were in good shape.
Early in the race, 280 degrees, though, and you had to come down and pit. I know that being early in the race was probably the factor there.
Yeah, that put us a little bit behind there, but we had an incredible truck, and, you know, right there at the end, there's no way we would have had a chance without Mike Wallace's help. You know, a whole field full of Toyotas right there behind us, and you know, they're all going to stick together. And I knew Mike Wallace. I'd helped him a bunch earlier in the race, and I know Mike Wallace real well. I knew he'd help me as much as he could, and I also knew that he would, you know, he'd do what he could to beat me on the last lap. And he was trying to get in position, and I see they widened up back there behind him, but and took him too. But Mike Wallace, without him, this wouldn't have been possible. And of course, Jack Roush loved driving this number 6 truck, and in this dream team here.
Congratulations, Mark Martin in victory lane here. He won at Daytona, and he's right back again at Talladega.
Well, I don't even feel like I need to ask Todd Bodine a question. I mean, I'm sure you have plenty to say. Let's start with your feelings, frustration, disappointment.
Both. A little of everything. Our Lumber Liquidators crew did a great job all weekend. Our Tundra was awesome. You know, it's an interpretation of a rule, and it's everybody's going to see it different. You know, hundreds of thousands of people on TV saw it different. People in the grandstand saw it different. I saw it as a clean pass. I started to pass. I was beside him before I was below the yellow line. If you're forced below the yellow line and you get back up, it's okay. I mean, that's what they tell you. And I did. Mark let me back up. He did what he had to do. I did what I had to do. I thought it was a clean pass. But that's the rule. We got to live with it. That's the problem with Talladega. You know, it's a rule that's very hard to determine what is right and wrong. It's a judgment call, and you know, NASCAR saw it one way and I saw it another. But we had a good day. I mean, I come back 4th. The Lumber Liquidators Tundra did what it was supposed to do.
Yeah, we know at this point the result's still unofficial, but yeah, you came back, and obviously, I mean, you're racing for every point you can. How did you get from where you were coming through on a pass-through penalty to get up to 4th?
I have no idea. Lucky, just side drafting, a lot of side drafting. These trucks have a good side draft. Got a couple pushes from behind, got a couple lucky breaks, and just got up there. Fortunately, I mean, it could have been a real bad day for us points-wise, and turned out to be okay.
Is this championship still yours?
No, by no means. Johnny and Rick are just, their team is on a roll. They're clicking, they're doing everything right. Johnny's driving great. Rick's making the right calls. I mean, everything's going the way they need it to go. Kind of the way it went for us earlier in the year and at the end of last year. But we got a great team, or got a great Tundra, and we're not giving up by no means.
Hermie?
Mike Wallace. Mike driving the Geico truck, running second, going in turn 3 on the last lap, in position to go for the win, and then some contact. Tell us what happened.
Well, Hermie, as you know how this racing goes, I mean, Mark Martin was in front of me. He was a 6 truck, and the only truck that was behind me that I knew of was the 5 truck. And next thing I know, I was turned around. I had a run that I could have got a run on Mark, but I didn't want to have to race everybody behind us, so I just was patient for the last till we got to white flag, and coming down to white flag, I see the 5 up on the outside. You know, I moved up, Mark moved up, and you know, the guy driving that 5 truck should be a lot smarter than that. I mean, I hope I'm not talking out of contents here. I just feel like I got turned around and wrecked, and you know, the Geico Chevrolet and Billy Ballou Motorsports did a great job today, and you know, we had bad boy mowers on there and mowed some grass down, unfortunately, but really, really disappointed. It's a shame because this was a great race. I thought the racetrack did a great job in paving it, and it's a shame it had to come to a last lap wreck when we could have all got through here clean, but so be it.
A good run from Mike Wallace until the last lap. He'll be strong tomorrow in the next Cup race as well.
Now, you see, he was trying to get to victory lane, wound up at the garbage dump. That just shows you how quick your fate can change in this business. We don't know who finished where. We know Mark won. That's all we know right now.
In a space of 1 mile, he went from running second to a wiped-out truck.
And then they put him in the garbage dump.
Mike Wallace, one of the favorites coming into this race. We ride along with Dennis Setzer, and what a ride it would have been for Dennis Setzer. Look at the number 40 truck go, wow, spinning by as he goes by him.